The people's concept about the temple must be made very clear. Because the principle of your political operations is your attachment to the Moorish divine and national movement. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a branch of that movement. It is the movement that is at the foundation. It doesn't remove the temple from it, but the temple is not the nation.
So the movement is the nation.
Yes. The movement is the active cause, for the nation's social and political activity. And you measure by that. Thank you.
I was talking. So actually, the more science, scientific movement is
Nope. The Moorish Divine and National Movement
Moorish divine national movement
is the umbrella or the parent body of the entire cause. Moorish Science Temple of America, the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, the Old Canaanite Temple are branches of that movement.
or departments of that movement.
Yes.
Their job is to set up banks, treasuries, record office, courts. These are courts. One this territory, this territory. Agriculture, environmental.
Business, industry, schools.
Like it's probably scared, man. They're scared. It's like they're scared. I'm surprised. I mean, honest before the inside, but it's like these brothers are scared. Like they shell shocked.
You know what?
Reason why I say
My
that
honest
is-
opinion, until you teach people, you can't do much with them. And you need the people for your own power.
I agree.
And what you have is people keep trying to exercise the sovereign power of the nation as individuals and find themselves wanting when the European rebuts them, even when they're right. And that they sit back and be judgmental of their people rather than try to raise them, to their own personal detriment. Then seeing opportunities to make finance off the people, start creating complexities of movements of these commercial instruments in order to make a living off of them under the idea that I know they don't know, when the sovereignty belongs to all of them, the birthright belongs to all of them.
So what you do for a science temple that don't understand their role and function, they disqualified, right?
No, this is what I say. I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to say it again. Expose this information to the masses freely, and that frees up the assets. I mean, just like we're talking openly right now. This goes all just as an example. We got email just the other day that I was reading, because when we get together once in a while, I get a chance to read the mail. People calling us from Australia, trying to get this stuff together. They call us from Britain, Denmark, Germany, Canada, Puerto Rico. Point of it is, those of us who have a little more in-depth knowledge about the dynamics of what's really going on and how the European has transferred our birthright into commercial instruments, bundled them, has been selling them, and now getting caught because he's got to liquidate. You understand? Because he ain't the only one holding these mortgages. And he's caught finding himself not having real access to assets to satisfy debts that's been calling on him. And he's trying to liquidate us.
Gotta go to our segregation.
Huh?
He wants to go to our trust.
Yeah.
and get the money.
The rest of the civilized world, because decolonization has been in order since around 1960. And the U.S. democracy has been resisting decolonization, although the nations have already ruled on that decolonization must take place in all assets, and they cannot use the economic conditions or the lack of knowledge of the people as an excuse. That's in the order. And what you have right now is them resisting, and then you have Moors finding this information out about all this commercial paper, and instead of really just dispensing this information, they keep on trying to figure out ways to make finance off their people, enslaving their own people. That's where we are right now.
Often saying, Drew Ali left a structure and a format, and I often say, and as years goes on, and you've been left with authority, and you don't know what's going on, somebody knows what's going on, you just qualify yourself. You have to go. You have to sit down. Give up that grand sheet and sit down. And let somebody get up there to understand government.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. You need to throw a convention and say that you want to have an election and votes. That everybody has to understand government.
What is it? What is it that's being demanded right now within the Moorish movement and actually on the planet? By necessity, people are recognizing that this thing must be run by a meritocracy. Meritocracy, that people must be in position who are really, that have the merit to actually run these things versus having the titles. Which is what you're saying, which I agree with. 150%. And what you have in the process of each point in the evolution is people resisting that, though they know it's coming. And that's why I say to you, for people to be really redeemed out of this thing, we got to stop letting this pattern go on where it's going in complexity and simplify it to free ourselves by freeing the people. And the best way to do it is just expose it. You ought to keep a record. You ought to keep a record, burn it, and put it out there. That's public record.
I said, if you burn it on tape, it says a more science than the public keys and put it on YouTube, that's a public record.
That's public record.
That's public, yeah. MySpace, right. That's a public record. They can go there,
that's public domain. That's public domain, public record.